نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Inshallah ta'ala we'll start tonight, as we mentioned last week, with the الحقوق or the rights in our life that we're supposed to observe. That this volatile life can be perceived from, when you look at it from that perspective. That we have a purpose, and that is to fulfill the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted us with. And these rights are divided into two types. The rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to worship Him alone, to believe that He is the creator, the sustainer, provider. As a result of that, to worship Him alone subhanahu wa ta'ala, to believe in Him with His names and attributes, to be obedient to Him, to stay away from disobeying Him. The rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is none. But mainly, this is about the rights of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us. And there are many things or many people that we interact with that each and every one of them, they have rights that we have to observe. And of course they have obligations towards us because they're also responsible for their actions. But what we really care about is, are we fulfilling our rights or are we fulfilling our duties towards others? Are we fulfilling the rights of others in our life? And for us to know this, it's not based on what people would agree upon. It's not based on something that is a cultural thing that is different from one culture to the other. Many people, they think it's just it's common sense, they already know it. And this is not true in most of the things. Why? Because it's a subject mentioned in the wahy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means the person has to learn it. Has to learn it from the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. We have the best example, and that is the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and those who followed them with matters of goodness. So each week, inshallah ta'ala, we'll take one, although it might, for each subject or each person or any relationship in our life, it can take even a long time for us to get to know the details that are mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but we do the best we can to make it as brief as we can, inshallah ta'ala. The first thing that we need to fulfill its rights in our life is the closest thing to us, and that is our own nafs, our own self, right? Our own being. We have rights on ourselves, right? And this is something that is mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Verses in the Quran talks about this nafs, this human being, because we're not just the flesh and blood and the eyes and the ears and so on. We have a being, right? This entity, ourselves. We either will take ourselves to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the opposite of this. So whoever does not fulfill the rights towards his own self, right, that means he is not fulfilling this right, and as a result of that he will be held accountable. Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for us is something that is a test for us. We are entrusted with our bodies, with our eyes, with our ears, with our hearts. All of that, we are entrusted with this. How are we going to live this life according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us and use these things for the sake of Allah or the opposite? Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, in the book of Itidah and Dawa, he summed it up in one sentence, right? And this sentence is that he said that kamalul nafs, to reach the perfectness of oneself with regards to how the human beings are not the perfect in the sense that people think the human beings might reach being perfect, in the sense that they're not sinless whatsoever, they don't fall into faults. No, this is not what is meant. To be still human beings with deficiencies and so on, but to reach this level of al-kamal with regards to our own self, our own nafs, is to do two simple things. And because of these two things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth. The first thing he said, ma'rifatul haqq min al-batil. The first thing is to know the haqq from the batil, from the truth, from the falsehood. To know the truth from the falsehood. And the second thing, إِثَاءُ الْحَقِّ عَلَى الْبَاطِلِ. The second thing is to make إِثَاء to choose the haqq over the batil. So the first one is knowledge, and the second one is the actions. So the first one is to know the truth from falsehood. That means you have to know two things. You have to know the truth and you have to know the falsehood. How do we know this? Again, from the wahy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is something that we have to spend the time and the wealth and the effort to get to know what is the truth from the falsehood, and how to be able to separate and differentiate between the truth and falsehood. And the truth, totally the opposite of it is falsehood. They're not close to each other. They're not something that a person will be confused, right? There's no confusion between the truth and falsehood. It's not, once you're confused or something that is ambiguous, it's not something about truth and falsehood, it's something else. The truth is so clear, and the falsehood also is so clear. But clear to who? Not clear to a common person like that when you look into things, no. Clear by referring back to the wahy, to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. So you might find incidences where the truth, you would say, wow, this is the truth, right? You didn't think that this will be the truth. But you would find it clearly mentioned in the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet that this is the truth, and it's totally different than falsehood. So our job is to know the truth which is revealed to the Prophet ﷺ versus the falsehood. That's one subject. And the other thing is to have this ithar. And when he used the word ithar, he used it very precisely. Because ithar means what? What's the root meaning of an ithar? What is usually it's used for? It's used when you would choose, you would prefer someone over your own self. You have a desire in something, right? But you would overcome this desire for someone else, right? وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. That they would prefer others even if there's hardship or difficulties on their own selves, right? When the person from the Ansar, when he fed his guest, right? And they didn't have any food, him and his wife and the children, and they made the children sleep. And him and his wife pretended to be as if they're eating when he told her to make herself as if she's fixing the light to turn it off, so that the guest doesn't see that they're not eating with them. And they would make him think that they're eating, but they're not eating anything, because the food was only enough for the guest. So this is not, anyone can do this. When you're hungry, when you're sleep hungry, and you have the food in front of you, and you're not eating because you're preferring someone over yourself. So it's not that you would do something and you can avoid it. No, ithar means that you have the desire to do the opposite, but you would choose otherwise. So this is what he meant with ithar al-haqq ala al-batil, that you would force yourself, that you would work on yourself, that you would choose the truth, that you get to know that this is the truth. There's no excuse. So to do the truth and to prefer the truth over falsehood, even if yourself is so inclined and pushing you to do the falsehood. And you have battles with yourself. Sometimes you lose, right? And your nafs will overpower you, make you fall into the falsehood. But then you have to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately, and to gain some strength with the repentance and the seeking the forgiveness from Allah, and taking the means so that you don't fall or don't get defeated next time, right? And the more the person works on himself till he overcomes this weakness, and then the next weakness, and then the third weakness, and so on. And this whole entire life is to perfect ourselves. And as Imam Shatibi also, rahimahullah, he said that this whole sharia, this whole deen of Islam is for what? لتخرج العبد من داعية هواه ليكون عبدا لله اختيارا بعد كان عبدا لله اضطرارا. That this religion is about what? It's to take the person from داعية هواه. داعية from da'wah, from calling. Hawa, his desires, from the call of his desires, to take yourself out, away from your desires calling you, to be abd to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, following what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calling you to do. To be a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ikhtiyaran, willingly. Willingly, you do this willingly, after you are already a abd to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with necessity, because we are abid to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody is taking the permission of anything. We're born, we die, in between things happen, and we have no choice whatsoever in many things in our life. But the thing that we have a choice in is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for. That is to choose to worship Him alone subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be obedient to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most wise, He created this complex nafs, this complex human being that is not really something that is sometimes difficult, sometimes it's easy, but you have to work on yourself. It doesn't come by wishful thinking. There's some effort has to be done. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to show the importance of this nafs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, in Surah Al-Shams, as we mentioned before, swearing by how many times before saying وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَاهَا, and وَنَفْس, and a soul, and a being, human being, وَمَا سَوَاهَا, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created it, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired it with whatever is good or whatever is evil. That means it has the choice to do what is good or the choice to do what is evil. Before that, it's many things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swear by. That means it's something very important. 10 of them. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا. 6. وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. This is right. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. This is جواب القسم. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. He is successful after all these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swear by. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. He is successful, the one that purified it. So this is the rights of this nafs. So the nafs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for you is to do what to it? Is to make the tazkiyah of it, to purify it, to make it, and this comes from the word zakah, right? And that's why zakah is purification of one's wealth. So the rights of this nafs that we have is to purify it from what it's created with, and that is, it tends to be lazy, it tends to take you down, it tends you to, it has desires, it has things, which is a natural thing. And the deen of Islam would never kill these desires, but it's to subject it to be according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. So at the end, the human being will not be deprived from his desires, but he will subject his desires, and he will still fulfill the worldly desires, but in the permissible way, in the ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to do, because this is a deen that fits every single human being, not against human nature, and so on. So this is basically the rights of our nafs, that is to achieve this tazkiyah, to achieve this purification as it's mentioned in the Quran. How to achieve this tazkiyah? First, when we look into the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, this is basically the way of it. With, as Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, and you will find this clearly in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, knowing the truth from the falsehood, and then preferring to do the truth with, because it's you know, so you won't do the truth because you feel like it, because you love this act or so, no, just because of the fact that you know that this is the truth. You know that this is the truth, so you will do it. You don't feel like it, it's okay. Force yourself. This is where the rights of yourself on your nafs is, that you force it, that you struggle with it. Right? People do this in their worldly affairs. Right? They work when they don't want to go to work. Because if they don't, they won't get money. This is how they see things. So it's not that a person or the human being doesn't know this concept. No, we already know this very clearly. That you don't follow your desires all the time. You have to choose what is right according to your terms of what is right and what is wrong, based on earning the physical things and so on. And that's why, as Ibn al-Qayyim also rahimahullah, he said that العقلاء أجمع العقلاء في كل زمان ومكان. That the uqala, the wise people, at all times and all places, doesn't matter whether Muslims or non-Muslims or whatever. The wise people, they agreed on a principle in this life. What is this principle that all human beings will agree that this is true? And he said al-uqala, right? Those who are wise, not the foolish ones. Al-uqala, whether they are believers or disbelievers, they agreed that أن النعيم لا يضرب بالنعيم. That an-na'im, delight, pleasure, good things, would never be achieved by delight, pleasure, and good things. So someone wants to go around the world for a vacation or to enjoy himself, he has to work hard for this. He has to save for it. Somebody wants to even have fun, even in a haram way in the weekend, they have to work in the weekdays so that they'll be able to have the haram fun, which is not fun whatsoever. But they understand this concept also. They understand it very well. Human beings, the wise among them, the ones not necessarily wise in a good way, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them some intelligence, at least they can live their life this way. Right? So they have to use the same concept when it comes to this dunya, this life versus the hereafter. That the na'im, the everlasting na'im, has to be achieved not by the na'im, by being serious and by being acting according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. And again, this does not mean that the life of the Muslim will be a life of just working, and that's it. No. It's a life of perfect way of life according to the way of the Prophet ﷺ. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, as we heard, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, and also said, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ. Those who fear maqam, which means the level of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the greatness of Allah, and also it means they fear the day when they would stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as a result of that, وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ, he forbade his nafs, he forbade himself from the desire, from following the desire. These are the people of Jannah. So again, this is the right of ourselves, that we would purify it by depriving this nafs from the haram, by staying away from what is haram and doing what is halal. Knowing this, knowing what Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, which knowing the truth from the falsehood and making ithar al-haq over the falsehood, then what are the levels, or the, as they call it, mayadeen, or the places, or the things that a person would purify himself in, right? And that is in basically applying the deen of Islam. You have the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a field that you're supposed to purify yourself, and you work on yourself to achieve knowledge and action. To know the truth from falsehood when it comes to the tawheed, the oneness of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to choose that over falsehood, with all what that means. So again, it's something that it's a process that takes time for the person to learn. How to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, how to purify yourself from any form of attachment in the heart to other than Allah. That's why the tawheed is not just one belief, big thing, and that's it. When we read in the Kitab al-Tawheed that it takes the believers to the extent of which that the word of mouth, the word that you don't even mean it, but if it's not exactly according to what the tawheed and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the attachment of the heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, you're not supposed to say it, even if you don't really mean it. To purify yourself completely from any form of attachment to other than Allah. And the example of that, when we said, is many things, one of which, whether it's to say that if it wasn't for them, right, the dog, the house would have been stolen, right? People say this, they don't mean that the dog is the creator of the actions and so on. A Muslim would not believe in this, but still you're forbidden to say this, because that's not the full truth. You have to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one that made this as a reason and so on. And also when you say if, when something happened already, and you say, if I had done it this way, it would have been different. This is also wrong. You're contaminating your nafs, you're contaminating your heart with diseases of being attached to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not believing in the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if your tongue is just saying that, but you really, when you ask yourself, you say, of course, everything is by the qadr of Allah. Well, if it's true, then you should also purify what your tongue is saying. And actions and so on. This morning we were talking about the chapter about those who are image takers. And somebody might say, well, image taking now, we don't worship these things. You don't have to worship it for it to be forbidden. It's enough that something that you, even if you don't do it, but still you would stay away from it. Because this, whether it leads people to shirk and associating partners with Allah, or it might have the hearts attached to these images and so on. So the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a subject that, of course, in the depths of the tawheed, aqeedah is something that we need to work on ourselves to achieve. The other field is the field of the halal, the haram, the recommended, the makruh, the actions, right? The acts of ubudiyyah, the ta'ah, the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ahkam, the rulings. Right? These are the ways to purify ourselves, to do the obligations, to stay away from what is haram, to do what is recommended, to stay away from what is disliked. And this is a field or a level that we need to work on ourselves so much. Right? Someone that never prayed before, right, to start to do this can be difficult for a person to make himself pray 5 times a day on time in the masjid and so on. It's a lot of struggle with oneself. We have to do this, we have to go through this. And as one of the early generations of Islam, he said, your nafs is like a mountain, right? You can't go around it, you have to climb it. So there is no way around it. You have to be patient. You have to work on yourself. But put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the same time have good expectations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you can do it by the will of Allah. Sometimes when we read in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ or the actions of the Sahaba, we think that this is like fairy tales. There's no way you can do this. Ibadah and so on. This is too much. Right? A person might think to himself, I can't do that. Right? You're not like saying it in a way that you're against it. No, but you know that you're weak. How can I do this? This is too much of me to do this. But it's all because you never put the effort and took the means to do it. If it's the truth that you get to know that this is really the way the Prophet ﷺ, even if it's something recommended. The principle that we need to follow all the time is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran about the people of knowledge, what they say to the people of Bani Israel. وَدُخُلُوا عَلَيْهِمُ الْبَابِ فَإِذَا دَخَلْتُمُوهُ فَإِنَّكُمْ غَالِبُونَ. The people of Bani Israel, they said, these people who cannot fight. Right? And they said to Musa alayhi salam, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إننا هنا قاعدون. You and your Lord go fight, we'll stay here. We cannot fight these people. There is no comparison between us and them whatsoever. Right? But what did the people of knowledge, those who knew the wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they knew the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did they tell them? وَدُخُلُوا عَلَيْهِمُ الْبَابِ. Just, you're ordered to do what? Enter the door on them. That, can you do that? Yes, they can. You can push the door, easy. They're not sure if they can fight the people behind the door. They're more powerful than them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering them. So do what you're capable of doing. ادخلوا عليهم الباب. Enter the door of them. فإذا دخلتموه, if you enter the door, فإنكم غالبون, you defeat. That's it, the matter is finished. It's not going to be you. You'll get the help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when did they get the help? When they were sitting on their beds and saying we're not going to do it? No. They have to take the means and to have the courage and to put themselves into these harm's ways, right? And for them to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered them to do. So when it comes to doing what is right and to stay away from what is evil, it is not valid for a Muslim to say, I can't, I'm so weak, I'm this and that, the temptations is so much. This is all not valid. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها. That no soul, no nafs, is a nafs is mentioned, would not be ordered or to kallaf taklif. It would not be ordered to bear something that it does not have the capacity to do it. It does not exist in the deen of Islam. We're not ordered to kill ourselves. We're not ordered to give up all of our wealth. We're not ordered to cut our fingers to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to stand in the sun, to stand in the cold the whole day till we die. There's no such a thing. What we're ordered to do, if you think about it, it's all in the capacity of the human being. So to stay away from what is haram, and you have all the halal. When people would have, or those who would drink wine, for example, they have water and juice and all kinds of things. And they leave all of this, and they choose this thing that does not even smell good, right? But they will intoxicate themselves. The same thing, leaving what is halal for them when it comes to evil relationships. Leaving the halal, which is to get married and to have a wife and so on. If he's not able to do that, he has to be patient. There's no excuse, right? And so on and so forth. So the person has to put his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, we do what we're capable of with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. And that's why when the Prophet ﷺ said to Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, Ya Mu'adh, wallahi inni uhibbuk. Oh Allah, Mu'adh, wallahi, I love you. This is not an easy term to be said, right? And then as a result of that, do not leave whatsoever at the end of each salat to say, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Oh Allah, help me to be grateful to you and to remember you and to do the ibadah in the perfect way. This sincere dua. And the person would again open the door, enter, right? Do the action. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help the person. And you see, yeah, it's feasible, subhanAllah. I wasted all my life thinking that this is something I can never do. But once you take these means, you'll find, subhanAllah, this was so easy. And then you would regret that you didn't do it earlier. Right? So that's why a person, but then you have to be careful, because you can think of something right, but it's not right. And that's why when people fall into innovations in the deen, they would become extremes on themselves and do things of extreme nature, not according to the way the Prophet ﷺ. And when they see in themselves that they're capable of doing it, that means they think that this is part of the deen when it's not. So we have to make sure ilm is very, very important. So to know the truth, it's something that you have to spend so much effort in, especially when things are confusing and people are just following sometimes innovations and bid'ah and dalalat and deviations. So you have to make sure that exactly this is the truth from the Quran and the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet. Once we know, that's it. So this field is also a lot of knowledge for us to gain, to get to know these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to do and to stay away from what is evil. And then after that, also there are many things, but just some examples, as means for the purification of the fields of purification of oneself is mujahadatul nafs. You have to struggle with yourself. You have to fight yourself, not with the sword and so on, but you fight yourself to do what is right. So, but again, first you have to know what is right. It's not just about struggling with oneself, struggling with oneself to do what? To make sure that it's on the right path. So knowing the right path and then struggling with yourself. And yourself is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. That this nafs is lawama. Right? وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ. Nafs al-ammar is the one that nafs ordering you to do evil. This is what our nafs is. There's no difference between a person being Shaykh al-Islam or someone that is a normal person. We're all human beings. So whoever is righteous, whoever is not righteous, they have the same nafs. And their nafs will order them to do evil. Right? So the difference between someone that is truly righteous is someone that he understood this nature of his self, of his own self, so he would disobey himself. He would disobey it and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does that mean that he's always successful? No. Sometimes he is weak and his nafs defeats him with the help of the shaitan and so on. Then he immediately repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and never give up. Never ever give up. He will take the means, and even if he falls again, he returns again and he takes the means, and so on till he purify himself one level after another, relieving oneself from all means of evil. So mujahadatul nafs comes with it also muhasabatul nafs, to make yourself held accountable for its actions. حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا, as it's mentioned about Umar radiallahu anhu. He said, put yourself accountable. And hasibu means, what's another word for hasibu? Question yourself. Question yourself and put yourself responsible for your actions before you're questioned in the day of judgment. Don't leave yourself like this till a person is, reached the level of reckoning in the day of judgment. So you do this for yourself in this life. That's why Umar radiallahu anhu, the one that the Prophet ﷺ gave him the glad tidings of Jannah in his life and so on, Anas radiallahu anhu, he said one time he came by him and he heard him, without Umar seeing that Anas is close, he heard Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu saying to himself, talking to himself, he's saying, Bakhin ya ibn al-Khattab. Then he said, Wallahi, لَتَتَّقِ اللَّهِ أَوْ لَيُعَذِّبَنَّكَ. Wallahi, لَتَتَّقِ اللَّهِ أَوْ لَيُعَذِّبَنَّكَ. He's talking to himself, O ibn al-Khattab, Bakhin, like you think who you are, Amir al-Mu'mineen and so on. Right, talking to himself so that he take away from himself the liking of oneself, right? Not just relying on the fact that he is Amir al-Mu'mineen and the Prophet ﷺ praised him and so on. So he would put himself down like this and he'd say, Wallahi, either you have the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear Allah, be obedient to him, or he will punish you. No favor whatsoever that you receive just because you are Umar radiallahu anhu, right? As we said, the nisbah, what is the relationship between the human being and the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala? It's the ubudayyah from the human being. It's to be a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing else. Not because he's the son of so and so or the friend of so and so or he saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? The nisbah is the ubudayyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they used to question themselves and put themselves accountable for what they do. And that's why once a person would think good about himself, this is the first level of destroying oneself. Does that mean that we don't have self-confidence? No, it has nothing to do with self-confidence. Yeah, you should have self-confidence, you put your trust in Allah and take the means and so on. But when it comes to your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're being a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on, you don't look good at yourself, but at the same time, you don't have bad expectations of Allah. And also the shaitan can work on the person from this perspective. He can tell him that you're no good. You can never be good. So that means what? Just go back again to the path of evil. Because you're good at this one. You're not good at being righteous. Right? This is of course from shaitan. But you do the good deed and you continue to do the good deed and still you seek what is better. You still look at yourself and you had sins and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And you work on yourself. You make your salah, you don't think that you're better than others and you look at them, oh, I'm better than all these people because I make salah. What if it's not accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It has all kinds of deficiencies. If a person finishes the salah and he's saved from sins, he's a successful person. Not someone that is even elevating himself with the words, just to save himself from sins in the obligatory salah. This is by itself is a great thing. So it has to be balanced so that the person does not become in a sense of despair of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, he do the deeds and he have the good expectations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but always working on himself, especially when dealing with others. As Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said that al-insaf min nafsik, to be fair towards yourself, that you're not always in anything, you think good of yourself and you think bad of others. This is how we are as human beings. That's why you will find even little children. You tell them, if they do something bad, why did you do that? They would say, well, so and so also did. They would try to push away. They don't want to admit it, right? That they did bad. They think this is not something good, right? This is something that we have to choose to do. That we have to admit that we do wrong, not necessarily to the human beings, but to ourselves, and to know that we have deficiencies, so that we can take the means of cure. Otherwise, if we don't do this, then how can we cure ourselves? So, mujahadatul nafs, muhasabatul nafs, right? And basically purifying ourselves by following the way of the Prophet ﷺ, with the acts of worship, with the dhikr, with the nawafil, with the night prayer, with the Quran, and pondering over the Quran, and basically to go through what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to do, and to know this, and to act according to this, and to be patient. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. And one of the rights of ourselves is that you have to give it its rights of being, of rest, of the nutrition of oneself. Right? And as the Prophet ﷺ, when he said to Abu Darda, radiallahu anhu, when Salman al-Farisi, he was with him after the hijrah, and they were brothers, and when the Prophet ﷺ made the brotherhood between the Ansar and the Muhajirin. So Salman al-Farisi, he saw Abu Darda. First, his wife was not wearing decent clothes, and this is again before hijab, so that nobody would see that was Salman al-Farisi. He saw the wife of Abu Darda. So this was before the ayat of the hijab was revealed. And he would tell him, when the night started, he was about to make the salah, the night prayer, Salman al-Farisi told him to sleep now, not yet. And then he woke up again, sleep now, not yet. And then at the end, he woke up. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw Abu Darda, he said, إِنَّ لِبَدَنِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا وَلِزَوْجِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا, and so on, that you have a right on yourself, and your wife has a right on you. وَلِضَيْفِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا, and your guest has a right on you, and so on. So you have to know these rights. So the Prophet ﷺ was talking in the context of that you have one of the rights on yourself, that you sleep, right? That you take rest. You take rest from what? From work. From working in the path of the hereafter, not to take rest from rest. Right? So when a person is working and being patient, struggling with oneself, then it's the time to sleep, the time to relax, the time to even have permissible means to enjoy oneself, to play sports, to do something halal. This is absolutely fine, but with the intention that this is not the life, this is the means to revive one's self, so that you're not bored with the ibadah, you're not bored with the actions and the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we're ordered to do. The Prophet ﷺ is the best example, and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. And we know the famous story when the Prophet ﷺ raised with Aisha radiallahu anha, right? And how, in the beginning when you know the story, right? And we always hear the story, but we sometimes don't hear about other stories, how the ibadah of the Prophet ﷺ and the life of the companions radiallahu anhum. So having this balance is all from the rights of the nafs that we have, but the main thing is to protect this nafs from the hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله. That we will believe, fear Allah, ولتنظر نفس. Here's the nafs is mentioned. That you should look ahead of what you had sent forward with your actions. Right? So the main thing of purifying ourselves is to look into the hereafter. Don't make your nafs trapped in this life. Always looking into the hereafter, what you're sending forward to the hereafter. The heart is attached to the hereafter. You're looking at any action from the hereafter perspective, right? Knowing the truth from falsehood. What will help you to choose the truth over the falsehood is to look ahead, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to do. No, not to look at what your situation today, no, look ahead after this life. That will make it easy for the person to choose the truth over falsehood. Stop, inshallah, at this point. There are many things to be mentioned, but I hope it's, if we can come out of this, that our nafs is something that we have. This is the most important thing. We have to fulfill its rights, and its rights is to save it from the hellfire and to take the path of Jannah. We'll continue, inshallah, next time with another right in our life.